Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. It's your boy, Brother Shamu Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Not sure what the lesson is going to be called, but it's heating up. All right, it's heating up. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kohola Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. Right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Came across this article yesterday. It was from Readers. It says Chinese hack of U.S. Treasury breached sanctions office. Washington Post says. So it says it says Chinese government hackers breached the U.S. Treasury office that the administrator's economic sanctions. It says the Washington Post reported on Wednesday identifying targets of a cyber attack. Treasury disclosed earlier this week. It says, citing unnamed U.S. officials, the Washington Post said hackers compromised the Office of Foreign Assets Control and the Office of Financial Research, and also targeted the Office of the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. It says the department earlier this week disclosed in a letter to lawmakers that hackers stole unclassified documents in a major incident. It says it did not specify which users or departments were affected. It says asked about the paper's report, Lu Pingyu, spokesman for Chinese embassy in Washington, said irrational U.S. claims was without any factual basis and represented smear attacks against Beijing. It says the statement said China combats all forms of cyber attacks and did not directly address the Washington Post reporting on specific targets. It says the Treasury Department did not immediately respond to the request for comment. It says on the newspaper report, it says the Washington Post quoted its source as saying that a top area of interest for the Chinese government would be Chinese entities that the U.S. government may be considering designating for financial sanctions. The Treasury letter earlier this week said hackers compromised third-party cybersecurity service provider Beyond Trust. It says Chinese firms, individuals, and entities have been a frequent target for U.S. sanctions, which Washington has used as a key tool in its foreign policy towards Beijing. The United States considered China its biggest foreign policy challenge, and last month, Yellen told readers that Washington would not rule out sanctions on Chinese banks as it seeks to reduce Russia's oil revenue and access to foreign supplies to fuel its war in Ukraine. All right. And when you look up the Treasury Department, right? I looked it up. It says, what does the Treasury Department do? So it says the Treasury Department operates and maintains systems that are critical to the nation's financial infrastructure, such as the production of coin and currency, the disbursements of payments to American public, revenue collection, and borrowing of funds necessary to run the federal government. All right. So these things were breached. But then, it says that, they were looking, Moab or China was looking for, things that might, Chinese entities that might be sanctioned, right? It says Chinese firms, individuals, and entities have been a frequent target for the U.S. sanctions, right? So I just read another article, right? This is from CBS News. It says China hits dozens of U.S. companies before expected Trump tariffs, right? Because we know that, Trump was, putting tariffs, I believe, even in his last presidency, and what people don't understand is, we get a large majority of goods from China, right? Matter of fact, let me see something real quick. Slovakia, how much goods come from China? All right. So this is let's see. In 2022, so it says in 2022, China was the top supplier of goods to the United States, accounting for 16.5% of the country's total good imports. The U.S. imported 536.3 billion in goods from China that year. All right, and another one says, let's see. It says U.S. goods and services trade with China totaled an estimated 758.4 billion in 2022. Exports were about 195. Imports were 562. Right. So us going out, I believe, exporting and then importing, we received 562 billion. All right. Says the U.S. goods and services trade deficit with China was 367 billion in 2022. So we get a lot of things, right? You can just look at some of your major look at some of your major goods and things that you have, right? And it's being imported from China. All right. So says China hits dozens of U.S. companies before expected Trump tariffs. It says China on Thursday said it was aiding dozens of American, China on Thursday said it was adding dozens of American companies to its export control list to safeguard national security and interests. It says China's Ministry of Commerce said it would impose measures on 28 U.S. entities and would also prohibit exports of dual-use items to the listed companies starting on Thursday. It says reported the Global Times. It says a Chinese daily viewed as aligned with Beijing and its government-run Xinhua news agency. Dual-use items refers to those that can be used for either civilian or military purpose. It says China also sanctioned 10 defense firms on Thursday over military sales to Taiwan. It says the self-governing island that China claims as its own, adding them to China's unreliable entities list. It says the ministry said, according to the AFP, it says it really does seem to be a warning shot. It says the escalation in U.S. policies against China, particularly under Trump, will be met with more aggressive response. Jesse Scherger, an associate professor of microeconomics at Columbia Business School, told CBS Money Watch China is signaling it will not take tariffs passively. The threat to not sell dual-use goods to listed companies could be consequential given China's role as the world's manufacturing powerhouse, said Scherger. Unclear is how China intends products will be viewed as dual use and therefore have their sale restricted. It says tires, for an instance, could be viewed as produced for both civilian and military use, he noted. Right? And you can just think about that. All right. From that to clothing to whatever. These things could all be dual used, and we get a lot of our products and our things from China, right? You look at most of the stuff you probably have on, it's manufactured and used in China, all right? So it says the moves come as Beijing readies for the return of President-elect Donald Trump, aka Nero. It says to the White House, and after Biden administration broadened its restrictions on Chinese firms amid escalating back and forth during his presidential campaign, Trump also raised the idea of imposing a tariff of up to 60% on all Chinese goods. So it says the desire to put high tariffs on China seems credible if you think back to the first Trump administration and its willingness to use tariffs for geopolitical ends, offered Scherzinger. The Biden administration didn't undo that. In fact, they professionalized it. It says the Trump administration rhetoric might have been stronger, but the Biden administration took this economic battle to the next level. And this is one of the points. It says China last month said it was investigating the U.S. microchip maker NVIDIA over potential violations of Chinese anti-monopoly laws, right? And we know that one of these key things to the micro chip is going to be, some of these chips, and we know that there's a lot of chips being made in China, right? And remember, there was a shortage, I believe, a couple of years ago, right? Even for vehicles, right? For vehicles, if there were being vehicles that were being manufactured that didn't even have, certain microchips and things that they had in there. All right, listen, okay. It says China's action comes less than a week after it placed sanctions on on 7 companies in responding to recent announced U.S. military sales and aid to Taiwan. It says still sanctions by Beijing targeting American defense companies tend to have a muted impact given that the U.S. military firm does not sell arms or related goods to China. It says the tit-for-tat trade measure also could be limited for analysts. Some analysts think, right? It says changes to the immigration, trade, and fiscal policy under the second Trump administration will likely be meaningful, but stop short of some of the more dramatic proposals, stated Goldman Sachs analyst in a recent report. It says we expect tariffs on imports from China and autos, but not a universal tariff, which could carry economic and political risk that we think the White House would prefer to avoid, right? But we see, these different things, this tit for tat, man. Like this stuff is going on, all right. And you see, they hacked the Treasury, right? And they said that they believed that they was trying to see what sanctions, that the U.S. was trying to, what companies, Chinese companies that the U.S. was thinking about sanctioning, right? And they hacked into the Treasury system, all right, where your cash system, all these different things, man, right? This is all just, you can't be ignorant, all right, and understand that these things are all done for a reason, all right. And you see too, China is investigating, potential violations with the U.S. microchip NVIDIA, right? And we talked about NVIDIA being one of the number one, I believe it's even over Apple at this point, but it's, the microchip, right? This industry is picking up. Why? Hey, because this stuff is going to get rolled out, man. All right. This stuff is getting ready to get rolled out All right. So you see all these different things, these tariffs, like these things can propel a lot of things, right? One thing that kind of came to mind is, you see all these stores and stuff already closing, right? Where we can't get things, and most of them, they get their stuff, their product from where? From China, right? You see all these stores closing. What more if they decide, hey, we're not even going to send you this stuff. You know what I mean? What more could be going on, right? So one thing that kind of jumped out, was Second Ezra 6 and verse number 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. All right? Because all they need to do is just stop sending stuff over here, right? And guess what? America, right? Babylon is ass out, right? Because a lot of stuff is imported in here. All right? And when they decide not to send their stuff, right? Hey, this place is done. All right? This place is gonna be done. All right. And also let's go to verse number Second Ezra 15, right? Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse number 18. It says, for because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, right? And your boy Nero, he put sanctions on when he first, got into office. What more now, and this is his last term, so he's gonna, go hard, right? So it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? So think about this. If China decides, hey, nope, we're not going to, send this stuff, or we going to, put a sanction or do stuff, guess what? We're not going to send you these things because these things could be used as dual use, right? The tires, all this stuff shoot up, right? The price of tires, the price of, if you don't have tires, how can you drive the trucks? You don't have the trucks, how can you, bring out distribution? All this stuff, is a domino effect, which would lead to, things not being on the shelves, right? And we already got stores closing. So what more? Okay. And these are the things that, are getting ready to happen. All right. The scripture talks about, it says, and for great tribulation, right? Because of the lack of bread, like all these things factor in. All right. Which could cause many things, famines. All right. This is Second Ezra chapter 15 and Salakia, verse number 5. It says, behold, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. It says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their fruitful works are fulfilled. All right. and this is what we're coming into these times. All right. These times of great trouble and tribulation. All right. People going to be kicking people's doors in, right? Because now you have some stuff that people want. All right. And they can't get, right? And now this stuff is not being sent over, right? Or it's costing an arm and a leg, right? These are the people, companies closing down, right? These are things that 2025 is getting heated up, man, right? And we got to continue to watch. All right. Yahawashi told us, right? Salakia. Let's get Luke. Salakia. This thing. Loves to just do what it wants to do. Luke chapter 21 and verse number 10. It says, Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? And you see these different things, right? The little tit for tat, the tariffs, right? You see all these nations, Salakia, getting ready for war, right? Why? So they're not going to sell, think about it. If they don't sell the U.S. tires because they can be used for military weapons or are used for military vehicles and things of that, right? That's telling you that they're preparing, you know what I'm saying, for this third woe, man. This third woe, right? Revelation 11 and 8 and was it 14, I believe, right? They're getting ready, right? Because they listen, the people, this place is the skirt is lifted up, right? The dress is lifted up off this whore, and they're seeing this, right? The nations are seeing this. So it says, then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall be there from heaven. All right, and these are all the things that we are seeing. Right, like I said, this is showing you the times that we're living in. All right, and people are getting fed up with the whore. All right, let's get that. Revelation 17. Start at verse 1. It says, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? And that great whore is talking about Babylon. All right? AKA America. It says, With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? She just goes around putting sanctions, tariffs on people, throwing military bases, near them, supplying other, basically other nations, they ops supplying them with weapons, you know what I mean? Hey, this whore the people are getting fed up, right? The nations are getting fed up, all right? Let's go to Revelation 18 and verse number 3. It says, For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings have committed fornication with her. It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, right? Because when it talks about they're going to cry, because they're going to see that this is where we were sending all our money, we were making all our money, right? Because America, they're a consumer, right? They're I believe the largest consumer. Everything that they get from all these other countries, right? And the nations are waxing rich because of this, right? And here and see, the whore knows it, and what she tries to flex her muscle. And, we're gonna put tariffs on you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that, right? But the nations are getting fed up with this whore, all right, and her rules. Okay, and just so people aren't simple, right? Revelation 17:18, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. All right, and we know that is Babylon, aka America, aka daughter of Babylon, the Chaldeans, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, right? And they're mad at this whore, right? Let's get that real quick. Revelation 11 and 18. It says, And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth. All right, and this is soon to come. All right. Listen, as we continue to prophesy, man, this is the 2025, the hopeful year of our deliverance and the destruction and the judgment of Esau. All right, starting with this place, man. right? And we see that these other nations are angry with this whore, right? Because she continues to fill them with their with the wine, right? With her wine of fornication, right? It's either my way or the highway. That's how her mentality is, you know. And who is she? She's a whore, right? And that's why we know in verse 17, in Revelation 17, it talks about the burning of the whore. They're going to burn the flesh off of her, all right? Because one of the judgments, when you read in the law, for a whore, right, is stoning and fire, all right? So that's what's coming to this place, right? That's what's coming to the judgment that's coming to this place, all right? Because the Lord is putting that spirit upon these other nations, to truly hate this whore, right? And ultimately leave this place desolate, right? For within 1 hour, all right, this place is coming down. But we see this place continually to crumble and crumble, right? You got, Moab over here hacking the security systems, the treasury systems, right? Which could lead to what? When you're talking about the treasury, that deals with the coins and cash now, guess what? Digital. All right. These are all things that that can come into play. All right. The lack of goods, right? Leading to famine, leading to civil unrest where people are starting to kind of break down your house because now you're the only one that's got, whatever, some of these goods. All right. So we got to beware and keep watch. All right. Keep watch and continue to pray. All right. Because this stuff is heating up. Right. And we're only in day 2. All right. We're only in day 2. What more? All right. Continue going. All right. So continue to stay strong. Keep enduring. Right. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men and to the rest of the elect. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying, keep watching. All right. And understanding, and seeing what's going on. All right. Because we are in these times, right, of these great prophecies, that were spoken of the prophets from before, right, of war and of evil and of pestilence. All right. We see these things coming into play. All right. So continue to keep watch. And with that, I want to say shalom.